But I would never mark anybody down because of that.
The main thing I think is, from all the tutors that I know sort of here and online, is that it's interesting to see what their suggestions are, because hopefully they should be giving you constructive ideas about how to improve something, rather than you know, we're not really in the business of ripping people to shreds. We're wanting to, you know, suggest ways in which something could be brighter or tighter or better written.
I'm just trying to work out this question from Marcia. Can you see that, Andrew? Cannot being an English native.
Yes.
Be a problem.
Is it harder? Do you mean if English is your second language, is that a problem? And I think the answer to that is, well, it just depends how good your English actually is. And I'll quickly segue to Nick in a moment. The only thing that I've learned, I suppose, over the years of marking on the distance learning has been that sometimes we're obviously marking in general terms, by criteria of the UK press, in terms of what's idiomatic and what's acceptable English and so on. And it's certainly true that, of course, around the world, the English-speaking press, if you like, the English language press in different countries, do have rather different requirements, where your problem may not be such a difficulty. I mean, I'll give you an example of a girl who was writing for me on the course, and I was probably a little bit sort of critical about, you know, how I felt that her reports were quite clumsy and a little bit sort of clunky, if you like, you know, in terms of the English not flowing very well. She didn't have any problem at all getting her stuff into print, you know, for a variety of publications, sort of in Pakistan. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way to the Pakistan papers. It was just that their English, as you know, in different countries, from Africa to India to whatever, is slightly different from perhaps the English that we're, you know, expecting in an English tabloid or a you know, a national paper here, national broadsheet paper. So it was a lesson for me as well that although we're wanting to be quite you know, helpful to people in terms of getting their English standard, the standard of English writing, up to scratch, there are many publications around the world which where the English is used in a slightly different way, you know, perhaps that sounds a little bit quaint to our ear. So it depends, you know, very much, I think, on your actual. I think the converse is, if you're writing a sentence that's difficult for anyone to understand, then it's going to be difficult to get that published. But then that's true everywhere. Is that something that rings any bells with you, Nick, in terms of students getting?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, as you know, I mean, our students come from all over the world, and for one or two assignments, students have to send copies of newspapers that they've analysed from their country, and it is very illuminating to read them, because they can be a lot, of course, are in English, but in a style that's very alien to me, or unconventional. But that is absolutely normal, you know, for that country. So I think you have to be a bit more adaptable, and you have to obviously bear this in mind whenever you're assessing students' work, especially a non-native speaker.
But I think Marcia's point about, sorry to interrupt, it was just, it suddenly occurred to me that she was saying, I wasn't quite sure which countries she was thinking of, but if it was the converse for our students here who come from France or Italy or whatever, is quite tough in reverse. You know, you're saying, well, if you want to be published in an English paper, it's got to be colloquial, idiomatic English of the same standard as written by an English-speaking person. So it's a tough demand for somebody if English is their second language, because obviously writing in that second language, you know, there might be a few exceptions, but generally speaking, you're going to have to write to a high standard. I think that's the bottom line.
I would
to interrupt.
No. I would think English humour is almost like the final frontier, isn't it, of understanding the language, because it can be based on wordplay. A lot of English humour, a lot of jokes are based on wordplay. So if you can understand that, then I think you're well equipped to write for a newspaper. But a few years ago, when I worked as a content editor on the Express and Echo in Exeter, they employed a reporter who was Dutch, and I mean, a lot of people think that the Dutch are good linguists, and particularly English is a language widely spoken in Holland. But you still have to be of a very high standard and know this colloquial and idiomatic and sense of humour that the British have, and be very au fait.
See them turning up on sort of live news reports and so on as well, which is slightly spooky.
Can I just cut in here, because Fizz has had to repeat a question about how to market your work on the internet, and can we also provide a little information on the current rates of freelance writing? Well, I mean, certainly I can because I get asked this question quite a lot, and I think you do have to be upfront with editors about rates. If you pitch an idea to them which they like and they want you to do, I think the next email you send them is to ask them about their rates. It's something that I always do and make a habit of doing. But I don't know. I mean, if you want me to come up with figures, I would say a national magazine for a 1,000-word article, I think you're looking at about £300 for a 1,000-word article, around about that figure. But for a newspaper, it could be considerably more. Again, a lot of factors affect this. Whether you have a track record, whether you've written for that newspaper before, how many words they want, where they're going to place the story in the newspaper. If it's a front of book story, for example, if it's the splash, then it could be very lucrative. But if it's a small review at the back of the book, then it could be just a couple of £100. So it is very difficult to put a figure on rates, but you should certainly find that out, I think, before you've written the article, because there's nothing worse than getting the go-ahead to write the article. You've written the article, and then you ask them about the rates, and then it's tuppence halfpenny, and you've wasted your time and your effort. So that ought to be a priority for any freelance writer, and don't be shy about it either, because it's your livelihood ultimately.
Yes, you can't be shy on although we are. I think journalists would agree. I mean, even experienced freelancers, it's still the bit that we hate most, selling, because we just want to be writing and commissioned and sort of effortlessly do it, just as you do.